It's the last edition of Business Incorporated in 2018. Thank you for joining us. I'm Chimezie Obi Iwago. On the show today, Egypt expects fifth tranche of IMF loan in January. Capital controls open a crack wider for tax-compliant Moroccans. Plus, Nigeria Customs Service asked to key into the federal government's ease of doing business agenda going into 2019. We'll get the show started off now with the markets, and it's the last trading day for the year 2018 for global markets. At intraday today, markets in Africa were all up, with Egypt in the lead, up 0.59%. The JSE index followed closely at 0.56%. The Nigerian stock market was also up marginally, 0.09% at intraday. Our Kenya was up 0.83% on Friday. And in Middle East, most major Gulf stock markets rose at intraday in light trade, with many investors away on year-end holidays, while Dubai gained sharply, boosted by bank shares. Saudi Arabia's index gained 0.25%, with RRG Bank adding 0.6% and Samba Financial Group climbing 1%. In Dubai, the index rose 2.40%, gaining for a fifth straight day after hitting a 5-year low last week. The largest lender, Emirates NBD, jumped 5.4% in thin volume. The Abu Dhabi index was up 1.90%, with Dana Gas climbing 6.7%. The firm said it had received a $324 million of receivables in 2018, including $199 million from Egypt. Qatar's index was up 0.15%. And European stocks was trading slightly higher on the final day of 2018 as major stocks across the world look to record calendar year declines. In early trade, the Pan-European stock 600 was 0.09%. The FTSE 100 is down 0.15%, while the French CAC was up 0.44%. The German DAX is closed today. All sectors traded in positive territory, with the basic resources sector at the top of the index, up more than 1%. Meanwhile, banks are at the bottom of the index, up 0.07%. In terms of individual stocks, Tele2 shares are at the top of the chart, up more than 6%. Meanwhile, shares in Pharma Group Recordati found itself at the bottom of the index, down more than 2%. Market focus is largely attuned to the progress on the U.S.-China trade standoff after hints emerged when President Donald Trump said he had a very good call with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Saturday to discuss trade. He also claimed that big progress was being made on this front. The statements have brought optimism to stocks worldwide that have been under pressure this year. However, market sentiment remained on edge after survey data out of China on Monday suggested that China's manufacturing activity in December contracted even more than expected. And stocks in Asia were mixed on the final day of 2018, as most major markets around the globe are set to record calendar year declines. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index rose 1.34% to finish the trading year at 25,845.70. The day's gains were unable to offset the indice's performance for 2018, with it declining about 13.61% when compared to its final close of 2017. The ASX 200 in Australia slipped 0.14% to close out 2018 at 5,646.4. The benchmark Australia index ended 2018 lower by 6.9% as compared to its final close of 2017. Meanwhile, markets in Japan, South Korea, and mainland China were all closed for the New Year holiday. And U.S. stock index futures pointed to a higher open on Monday on growing optimism surrounding U.S.-China trade talks. At about 3:15 a.m. Eastern Time, Dow futures were up 195 points, implying a higher open of 182 points. Futures for Nasdaq and S&P pointed to a higher open as well. Our market focus is largely attuned to the progress on the U.S.-China trade standoff after hints emerged when President Donald Trump said he had a very good call with Chinese president on Saturday to discuss trade. He also claimed that big progress was being made on this front. His statements have brought optimism to stocks worldwide that have been under pressure this year. Trump's comments came after both he and Xi earlier this month agreed to a 90-day pause in tariff escalation. On the data front, the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Survey is expected at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And away from the equities markets and back here, Morocco's government plans to reward compliant taxpayers with more hard currency for travel abroad as it gradually loosens capital controls. Within days, the Rabat-based foreign exchange regulator will more than double the amount people can take out of the country to as much as 100,000 dirhams from the current 40,000 dirhams. The minimum allowance will be raised to 45,000 dirhams. Almost a year after Morocco's move to ease its hold on the dirham by widening the currency's trading band, the authorities are taking another step to dismantle some of their defenses as part of a plan to liberalize the economy. To protect the country's vulnerable external balance, Morocco applies stringent rules against capital flight, especially in foreign currency. Egypt expects to receive the fifth installment of its $12 billion IMF loan program in January. The International Monetary Fund offered the three-year loan program in 2016 after Egypt agreed to a package of reforms, including the devaluation of the pound, cuts to the energy subsidies, and the introduction of a value-added tax. The IMF postponed a review of Egypt's economic reform program initially planned for earlier this month, prompting speculation that the fifth tranche of the loan worth $2 billion might be delayed. However, Central Bank Governor Tariq Ahmed briefed President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Sunday on the positive results of the IMF's most recent staff team visit to Egypt. Many economists have praised Egypt's economic reforms over the past 2 years, though austerity measures have caused immediate pain for wide swaths of Egypt's 98 million population. And as 2018 finally comes to an end today, the